What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, Spurs Gemo, Ranty Flat Earth, Paul, Gummy Bear, Flatzoid and Chocolate Saying. Very good to have you all.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, what ho?
Right, I'm going to nominate someone. I'm going to nominate Travis to do the housekeeping because I've forgotten to share the link because there was a technical issue. So I'm going to do that now. But hopefully Travis will do a great job.
You want me to run through housekeeping?
Yes, yeah, I'll help you out. I'll keep my mic open.
Any signs of axial rotation?
No, none.
Nope, still not busy.
All right, since I'm the host here, somebody else has got to cover for me. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Sorry. Travis still does the best.
There is no scientific evidence or proof for gravity. Full stop.
But you can imagine it to be.
This is an interesting point because I was speaking with. We've got Gummy here. I mean, let's introduce Gummy. He believes in the globe. Gummy, are you with us? Is your mic?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Excellent.
Yep.
And I was discussing with Gummy here about gravity. So, I had the idea that, most forces can power things. So without this, if you want to power something, you would have a force. So I was like, well, what does gravity power? Does it power anything? Because that could be a sign of gravity. And Zinda and Gummy backed him up. They were saying dams are powered by gravity. I thought it was interesting. I was like, how does that work? And so Gummy, if you can explain if you understand gravity, because you think gravity is a real thing, right?
Yeah. So the way that dams would, in essence, harvest energy from gravity.
Don't be scared, Gummy. We're all friends here.
Yeah, sure. I'm just no problem. Anyway, yeah. Because of how gravity works, if you have something at a higher elevation, it gets potential energy. And essentially, if water then starts going down, that potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. And then if you then have
I hear nothing. Is anybody there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're all here. Travis, can you not hear us? Clearly not.
No, well, I mean, I heard that, but I didn't hear Gummy talk at all.
Hello?
Yeah, I heard Gummy.
I can hear Gummy.
I can hear him.
Yep,
Okay.
I am too.
Just a weird anomaly.
Hello.
Can I just, hey Arwin, can I just say hello to Right the Hand as well, just to check Discord's all functioning perfectly?
Sorry about that. I mean, you can sort of carry on.
Maybe not. Well, I think the Discord server's working perfectly, so again, the link's just been published.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, let's get into this. Your understanding of this this device powered by gravity, and then I guess they can discuss, the ins and outs of gravity itself. So, go on. Then you're saying gravity is powers dams, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How?
So because of gravity, things higher up have a potential energy. essentially because when it goes downwards, it gets accelerated and gets kinetic energy. If you then have a dam in the way with, for example, a water turbine, you can then capture that kinetic energy into the turbine and convert that to electricity.
What is that kinetic energy?
Hold on one second. Sorry.
Gummy.
You started by saying because of gravity. And the
Yes.
question on the table is there any scientific evidence of gravity? So you've given us an example of gravity, the claimed motion of it, giving us energy
So
in a dam.
What I've shown
And-
you, or what I'm talking about, is things accelerate downwards, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Now, I would say that's because of gravity, and I have not
yes, I
heard a
understand
sufficient
that. Please,
explanation.
can you not interrupt me? I was in the middle of
Yeah,
saying
I'm
something,
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
reaffirming what you'd already stated. So you were talking about a dam that produces energy because of gravitation, i.e., the water flowing lower. But you appreciate that they actually run at a net loss because they have to first pump the water to the top. You appreciate that they run at a net loss. They're not producing energy. They're running.
Now, that would be assuming that this dam is controlled by pumping the water upwards. There are other ways to get water upwards.
Yes.
For example, water will condense and form into clouds and then rain. And that way you will actually get water on top of stuff without the people using energy to do that.
Oh, you could do it much easier. There, you can actually have a tube
Sorry, this isn't.
upward and
Sorry.
then really transport water just by the suction of it.
This isn't what dam debate. So, is there any scientific evidence of gravity or not? I'm not interested in debating dams that run at a net loss when you pump the water up to the top.
I just told you why they're not at a net loss.
I don't care. We're talking about gravity. Is there any
Yeah, but if you
scientific
bring it up
evidence
as an
of it?
argument and I then say that your argument is invalid and then you say don't care, isn't that a bit hypocritical?
Sorry, I'll start again. You missed the first point I made. You started by saying, because of gravity. So you
Yes.
are automatically assuming and invoking this gravity thing. What is it? Can you show it me? Is there any
Now,
scientific evidence
the
of
reason-
it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
original question. Is
Yeah,
there any
so, as I
scientific
said-
evidence of it? And we're talking about generating electricity with dams. So that's not evidence of gravity.
Yeah. So what I said was that it accelerates down because of gravity, and there's no other explanation that has been sufficient enough to prove why things accelerate downwards.
Sorry, I just said
Okay.
they first pumped it up. Did you not hear me
So
say that?
I
That's
just
the
told
sec-
you that
You
no,
keep
you don't have to
every time
pump
I
it up.
talk, you seem to interrupt me.
Because you're
Yeah,
strawmanning
don't
me
interrupt.
entirely.
Don't interrupt. I'll say it again.
Then stop
I'll say it
strawmanning
again
me.
while you keep interrupting. Stop interrupting me, please, while I state for an attempted third time. They first pump the water up to the top holding reservoir.
Was that uppity force?
You're trying to explain a force for why it's coming down. I'm giving it you. They first pump it up. Is the silence your response to that?
No, because every time I try to respond to anything, you say that I'm interrupting you, even
Yeah,
though
'cause
you're
you did.
always strawmanning me.
I'm not strawmanning you. You haven't
Yes.
addressed what I've said. That is a fact.
I
These
have
hydro...
addressed.
There you go, interrupting me, you see? Are you projecting your interruptions of me? No, I am not interrupting you. I'm making a statement and in the middle of a sentence when you started talking. That would be you interrupting me. So I am not strawmanning you. This is a fact. These hydroelectric plants that you have claimed are a proof of gravity have a cause for the stuff that goes down. You are ignoring that cause. I've said it now 4 times. They first pump the water up.
All right, can I speak now then? Because like I said, that is one way you can put water up there, but there's also natural ways that the water is put up there, like with rain.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Okay,
But,
but
so
all
what?
ways of
And
putting water
sorry,
higher require that.
sorry, I failed to see how that is a proof using a dam that runs at a net loss that gravity is doing this thing that you claim it's doing, or is in any way a scientific evidence of gravity.
And I fail to understand how something running at a net loss automatically just disapproves anything that it's about.
Well, there's been more energy putting into getting it up there, the bit that you ignore when you assert the force of down. So there's also been a force of up, and when you calculate the two, you were at a net loss. So what's this magical force going to lose us energy along its journey? Is that your proof that we have this force of gravity? Is this your scientific evidence? This is useless.
No, okay, so how do things move?
Why are you asking me? What's your scientific evidence of gravity?
Okay, so the reason I'm asking you is because you're asserting that by putting a force on something upwards to put it up somewhere, it then starts accelerating downwards. That's not how forces work. If you push something in one direction, it then accelerates in the same direction. It doesn't suddenly move in the other direction.
Sorry, if you push it, that would be you pushing it though, wouldn't it? You have to push it. So
yes.
I fail to see why this is in any way scientific evidence of gravity, which is what you've been asked for.
So because because you said that it's because you put it up there, and I'm saying yes, but the force that you put it up there with is directed upwards, and then it's accelerating downwards, which means that force is not what's making it go downwards.
What force?
The force of you putting it up there. You need to exert a force to put it up there in the first place.
Yeah, what goes up must come down. You've put energy in getting it up, and then it comes back down again. So what is your point? I keep saying this is the second time I've said this. This is not scientific evidence of gravity. That's what you're being asked for.
There's another way of explaining it very simply using relative density.
I don't care. I want scientific evidence of gravity.
So relative density doesn't work, which is why I say.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry.
All right, do you want to go into that then instead?
Why? Hold on. Why are you now strawmanning us? You are trying to prove gravity. Don't strawman argument and take apart relative density like I care. Prove your claim that gravity is real. Don't strawman us.
Do you know what a straw man is? It's misrepresenting someone's argument. He just said that density works instead.
So far, you haven't made one.
That's not a straw man.
You haven't made one. You're now taking apart how relative density doesn't work when you're trying to prove an affirmative that gravity is real. So let's not worry about this straw man. It seems associated with your claim you haven't proved yet. It's not. Let's just stick to proving what you think exists, this force of gravity. Have you any scientific evidence of it?
Okay, so just a quick thing is that I did say that there's no other force than gravity that sufficiently explains it, but let's go into gravity then. So one experiment would be the Cavendish experiment.
It's not an experiment.
That was a straw man.
It's not an experiment.
And why is it not an experiment?
Because it doesn't have an observed phenomena or a dependent variable, if you want to call it that, or an independent variable, your presumed cause of the effect.
It also proves torsion bar twist and not gravity.
Yeah, if you want to claim the phenomena of torsion bar twist is a naturally occurring phenomena, my friend, is that what you would assert, that torsion bar twist is a natural phenomena?
I'm not sure what you mean by torsion bar twist.
Really?
Yeah, I think
I've never heard that term
really?
before.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry. What's occurring in the Cavendish experiment, my friend, that you've claimed is scientific evidence of gravity? Do you not know what this claim you've made is?
I do know, but I have never heard the term torsion twist, which is what I'm asking, yeah.
That's amazing. So tell me what occurs in the Cavendish experiment that's not an experiment because it does not have a dependent or independent variable.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So first of all, the reason I haven't heard torsion twist is maybe because English isn't my native language. But either way, what happens in the Cavendish experiment is that you have balls suspended by torsion, for example, a string. And then because of gravitational attraction, they will move towards each other.
All assumed.
All observed.
So no worries. So in an experiment, we're primarily interested with phenomena. So what's the phenomena being studied?
Masses attracting each other.
So where do we observe that in nature, please?
When you have a torsion bar.
Sorry, that's not in nature, is it? Do you want to take me to a naturally occurring torsion bar?
Do you want to take me to a naturally occurring engine?
Excuse me, is that another straw man red herring? We're not talking.
No, just because it's
Excuse me. Yeah, I was talking. We're not talking about engines now, are we? We're talking about your claim that you have scientific evidence of gravity with this quote-unquote experiment. Now, I'd like you to tell me the phenomena, and you have said mass attracting mass. When I ask you where that happens in nature, you say in a torsion bar. What, in this experiment?
Yeah.
That's not occurring naturally, my friend. That's been built by a man.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely not in the natural
I'll
world.
ask again, where do we observe mass attracting mass in nature?
In the celestial bodies.
Why would you assert
On
that?
Earth, man. On
Sorry.
Earth. Where do we see mass attracting mass
It's okay.
in real life?
Why would you assert that their mass attracts mass in the celestial bodies? Do you know that they are mass? Have you been to examine these lights and establish that they are in fact mass?
Are you asserting that they might not be mass?
How do you know the mass of them? Would it be by
They're
chance?
physical objects. They have mass.
Excuse me, I hadn't quite finished my question.
No, but you asked the question.
Would the mass of these celestial bodies be in any way derived from this non-experiment?
They could be, yeah.
Oh, well, that's a shame. You see, that's kind of putting the cart before the horse, because first thing you need to do is observe a phenomena, not construct a man-made device, derive the mass of the bodies that you think are mass in the sky, and then claim that those masses are attracting one another. No, friend. We first must observe mass actually attracting mass, so that we can vary and manipulate the cause of that attraction of mass, if we can first observe it.
Well, now you're going against what you said about the scientific method. We have observed things attracting each other, and our hypothesis is that it's because of their mass that they're attracting.
No
That's
worries.
a naturally observing phenomena.
So our phenomena is the celestial bodies attracting one another, and the Cavendish experiment will establish the cause of that effect, will it? So you're going to vary something to cause the attraction of mass in the stars. That's what happens in Cavendish, is it? Really?
No.
Oh, well, you just told me the phenomena.
But you're asking about a naturally occurring phenomenon.
Yeah, mass attracting mass. You said the stars. If that's your dependent variable, the phenomena, then in an experiment, you're trying to vary and manipulate what you assume causes that effect. In this instance, the effect of, according to you, mass attracting mass in the sky. So, what was it exactly that was varied to cause that effect in the sky?
So, I don't. First of all, I don't agree that it has to be a naturally observed phenomena.
Really? You think that? Hold on. So, do you believe that something that a man makes is a phenomena? Because when you're trying to establish the cause of something that a man has made, the cause is always the same. A man made it.
Well, that would be the cause of it being made, not
That's
how it
correct.
works.
Yes, that's correct. It's not a phenomena then, is it? Certainly not a natural phenomena. And considering that science is exclusively interested in the physical and natural world, I'm not too concerned about the devices that men put together and claim a phenomena. They're not. We must first observe the phenomena occurring in nature for it to be a natural phenomena. That's what science is interested in. Now, other people might be interested in finding out the cause of a man-made device, but that's just pseudoscience.
So you just said the physical world, which is very important. It's not about the natural world, it's about the physical world. And if I may make an analogy...
Is the natural world not physical?
Yes.
Are you listening to what you're saying, man?
Sorry, you realise we're talking about natural science, right?
Yeah. Can I make an analogy?
Hold on, you didn't address what I just said. We are talking about natural science, the world we live in.
Yes, the physical world we live in.
Sorry, natural science. So you're now going to argue that natural science isn't interested in natural things, but merely only physical things. Is that what you're about to argue? Because that's not very sensible now, is it?
Why do you make it this division of natural science? It's just science.
Because that's what we're interested in. The world we live in most definitely falls into the category of natural science, my friend. Did you not realise that?
No, it falls into the physical world, and then the natural world is a subset of that.
So you're saying that a subset of natural science is the natural world. That's a subset of natural science, is it? I'm afraid not, my friend. You're very confused.
No, so the physical world would be the entire Earth. Then we have things like man-made, like buildings and stuff, and you don't claim that to be the natural world. But then we can go into the forest with trees and stuff. That's the natural world. But that doesn't mean that buildings and stuff don't exist. They're still part of the physical world.
Yeah, they're just not part of the natural world. What natural science would be interested in? So you can go away and study architecture, if you'd like. But me, I'm interested in the world we live in. The natural world. You can be interested in the things man devises, like gravity. You can be all interested in what men tell you and what they devise. Me, I'm interested in the natural world, exclusively interested in that. That's what this subject is. Flat Earth debate? Yeah, we're definitely talking about the world here, not about buildings.
So when you do experiments like the laser test, why is the laser
not an experiment?
natural?
That's not an experiment either. It seems you don't. What are the three constituent parts of an experiment? Tell me.
The three of a scientific experiment.
Take your time.
Sir.
Yeah, so
Don't
it would
interrupt
be.
If you know another one.
Don't interrupt him. What are the three constituent parts of a scientific experiment?
An observation and a hypothesis, and then
Wrong.
an experiment.
You're wrong. No, incorrect.
Right.
Do you want to try again? Seems you don't know what an experiment is.
No, you can explain to me which three parts you mean.
You've just said experiment more than 3 times, I believe. You've declared that a laser is an experiment and the Cavendish is an experiment. I expect you to know what that word means. I'll ask a second time. Given that you've got it incorrect, you're wrong. What are the 3 constituent parts of every single scientific experiment? Without exception. If you knew what an experiment was, you'd know this instantly. Just without answering, does everyone else on the panel know the answer to this question?
Science doesn't prove anything anyway.
Arwin, don't be sarcastic. Just say yes. If you do, no if you don't.
Yep.
Chocolate, you says yes.
Yes.
Physics says yes. 3 constituent parts of a scientific experiment. If you don't know the answer, please say no.
I don't know which 3 constituents you're talking about. I know the entire scientific method, but I'm not sure about the 3 you're talking about.
I'm talking about an experiment, a word you've used on multiple occasions here. You should know what that is if you're declaring experimentation has occurred. And it's clear that you don't know what an experiment is because you don't know what the 3 Why are you talking over me? I haven't finished my statement. That was a question.
Yeah, because you asked the question, so I thought I would respond, but then you kept talking.
Yeah, you responded incorrectly. You who have declared experiment do not know what that is.
I know what a scientific experiment is, but you're asking me for 3 specific constituents that I don't really know what you're pointing at.
Well, then you don't know, because that's what an experiment is. It consists of 3 constituent parts. If you knew what that was, you would be able to declare it here and now. Other people on the panel know. You do not. So why are you here telling me that you've got experiments when you don't even know what they are?
All right, well, can someone else name the 3
you!
parts?
Are you stupid? I'm asking you. You are the one who's made the declaration. Gravity's real. We've got science. Yeah, we've got experiments. No, you haven't. Now I'm asking you what an experiment is, this word you've used that you've declared. And you're asking us to tell you what you want us to school you. You're the one making the declarations here.
You're the one who was asserting that everyone here knows it.
Yeah, I know. I've done this show long enough to know my own panel know the answer to this, given that we've schooled other people who believe they live on a sphere, who come here and declare they've got experiments. We've asked this same question on multitudes of occasions. And it's hysterical when we find that the person declaring that they've got an experiment hasn't got the vaguest clue what an experiment is. And this is no exception, my friend. You haven't got the vaguest idea what you're talking about, have you?
This is a semantical argument. Just
semantics?
I don't know what you mean by
what does semantics mean? What does the word semantics mean? Semantics means words and their meanings. So yeah, you're damn right this is semantics. You used a word, and I want you to be absolutely clear to the audience in my beration of you that you don't know what it means. Yeah, semantics, my friend. You don't know what semantics are. And you definitely don't know what an experiment is. Otherwise, you'd be able to tell me the 3 constituent parts, as other panel members could, but you can't. You're just a pretender clown. You're pretending to know what these words mean that you use, and you don't. So why are you here using words that you don't understand? That's my question to you. I'll repeat it. Why, Gummy, are you here using these words like experiment when you haven't got the vaguest clue what they mean?
I know what a scientific experiment is, and I can walk you through it from start to finish. However, what I do not know is what you're talking about.
You haven't told us.
What
you're just lying. You're lying. I'll talk over you
now.
Now
you're talking over me.
Yeah, I'm going to, because you're lying. You said I know what an experiment is. No, you don't. You liar. So tell us, what's an experiment? It's got 3 parts to it. 3 constituent parts. If you know what an experiment is, say now, or concede that you're a liar. You haven't got vaguest clue what an experiment is, or you'd have told us.
Like
Come on, tell us.
Gummy, if you're not understanding the problem,
everyone shut up. Stop it. Gummy, you've just said I know what an experiment is. Every single experiment ever has 3 constituent parts. If you are to declare you know what an experiment is, tell us what they are. You'd know if you knew. You just don't, and you're a liar.
Gummy, what he's trying to tell you is in a scientific experiment, you need 3 things.
Chocolate, just let it be silent.
All right.
You've said you know what an experiment is. I've got to repeat it again through the silence. Everybody just let him sit in his stupidity and his silence while he tells us again that he knows what an experiment is. Presumably frantically Google searching. Tell us what the 3 constituent parts are if you know what an experiment is.
Back to the semantical. I don't know what you mean by the 3 constituent parts.
Then you don't know what an experiment is.
Yes, because I can walk you through the scientific experiment from start to finish, all the parts of it, but I don't know what you're referring to. With
Go on then. Tell us about the 3 constituent parts in every single experiment then. If you know, which you keep saying you do, even though it's glaringly obvious you don't. What are you waiting for? You've just said it a 3rd time. You know what an experiment is, so tell us.
Because you're completely avoiding what I just said.
You haven't told us what an you think you can play those games with me, my friend? Everyone in this panel knows you haven't told us yet. So tell us, what are the 3 constituent parts? Yes, I haven't told you the
3 constituent parts because I don't know which 3 you're referring to. I never heard of that part.
Well, why don't you actually go and present it then instead of claiming you know it?
Doesn't know. He just has absolutely no humility. He still wants to believe he knows what an experiment is. He doesn't.
All right. An experiment. You first have an observation, and you need to, and you want to find out what is causing that. So you create a hypothesis, then you test with an experiment, and by analyzing the results, you either see that your hypothesis is true or that your hypothesis is false. If it's false, then you need to find a new hypothesis that does conform to reality. And if it is true, then you count that towards that it is true.
That's fascinating. So what are the 3 constituent parts of the actual experiment? You said then you do an experiment, and you didn't tell us what we do or what the constituent parts of it are, surprisingly, because you don't know.
The experiment, it depends on what you're testing. I mean, it's you take it like
no, it
independent variables.
Let me say it again. You're wrong. I have to stop you because you're wrong. I'll say it again. Every experiment has 3 constituent parts. It does not depend. You're wrong. Again, if you knew what an experiment was, you wouldn't say such nonsense. But you don't and can't admit it. Don't know why. After, 15 minutes of this on gravity, still not getting scientific evidence, you don't know what science is.
All right. Well, then I will concede that I don't know what you mean by the 3 constituent parts of an experiment. I will concede that.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for conceding that you do not know what an experiment is.
Can we ask him what observation means?
Not yet.
That was his first.
I've got a further follow-up question. Why have you come here to tell us about, quote, experiments?
I was come here and then I was led into those experiments by the conversation.
Sorry, you were asked to give scientific evidence of gravity. You gave us what you claimed were experiments. They weren't. Now I want to know why, given that you don't know what experiments are, why you're here declaring that you've got experiments.
I mean, I would say that essentially, I would say that they are experiments, only that
you don't know what experiments are. How would you know? You don't know what an experiment is. So why would you say you don't think they might or might not be anything when you don't know the specifics of what an experiment is? So let's not worry about what you think anymore. I'm asking a different question. Given that you don't know what an experiment is, why would you have the audacity to come here and tell us about, specifically about, quote, experiment?
Because your model doesn't work.
Excuse me? That doesn't answer my question about why you have come here, lied, said that you do know what experiments are, lied, and declared, when you have not, got experiments, and further to that, you don't even know what experiments are. I want to know what has motivated you, the fraud, to come here, declare things that you don't have and don't understand. I would like to know why.
All right. So I came here because I have an understanding of things.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't understand what experiments are. You've declared
you just
them. You do.
Me again.
What part of this aren't you getting? You've come here because you've got an understanding.
You just interrupted me again.
Yeah, because you've declared that you have an understanding. You've come here because you have an understanding.
Did you let me finish my sentence,
made declarations about things you don't understand. So you don't have an understanding. That's what I'm asking. Not explain why you do understand. It's very, very clear that you don't. We've made you concede. You've conceded. You don't understand. So don't make your first explanation of why you've come here, the fraud, to claim things you don't have and don't understand, that you do understand. That shouldn't be your opener, my friend. It's going to piss me right off. You've already declared you don't understand. You've conceded that. Why would you open with, I've come here because I do understand? You don't.
I don't understand your method of scientific experiment.
Not my method. No. Not my method. Wrong. How dare you? Not.
Purely semantical.
Stop. Yeah, because you've just declared it's my method. No, it's the scientific method. A method you do not understand. You haven't got a clue what an experiment is. So it's not my method. That's why I'm interrupting you. You don't understand the scientific method, not Nathan's scientific method. It's not my method. It's the method. Okay?
Yeah. Gummy, if I may, it's like you coming to the court. No, but I would like to make a parallel very shortly.
Why?
Because it's appropriate. It's short.
Why? He's this guy.
He's like at the point where he's courtroom defending himself without knowing the judicial language. That's
I don't care what he has declared experiments. Therefore, he should bloody well know what it means. He's also conceded he doesn't. Why am I having to have this argument with you, Arwin? I want to know why this man has come and declared things he claims he has that A, he doesn't have experiments, and B, he doesn't understand what experiments are. That makes him a charlatan, and I want to know why. I don't want a parallel from you. I want to know from Gummy why he's come here and behaved like a charlatan, claiming things he hasn't got, experiments, and why he doesn't even know what an experiment is when he's declaring that he's got them. That's what I want to know.
Okay, so here's how I would put it as clearly as possible. We have a scientific experiment, and you have or someone has subdivided it into the 3 constituents, as you stated. I have never heard that subdivision into 3 specific constituents, which is why I cannot answer your question when you state it in that manner. However, I know how a scientific experiment is done.
No, you know the scientific method. You went through the scientific method, not a scientific experiment, which is specifically what you're being asked for, because it's specifically what you declared you had.
So when I tried to explain to you the scientific experiment, you interrupted me after I said 2 words. I said independent variable and dependent variable, and then you stopped me right there.
I didn't hear those words. So what's the third? No worries. So you got 2. Took 20 minutes? What's the third?
The third would be a test. I mean,
Sorry.
like a
3.
What's it
You've
called?
got 2. Presumably after a lot of Google searching. Now claiming that you've said it already. Typical baller tactic. I didn't hear him say that. Did anyone on the panel hear him say independent and dependent variable?
Absolutely not.
Is there a vote on this? Because I promise.
Excuse me, I didn't ask you, Gummy.
Actually, I think I did hear him say something like that. Sorry, but he did say something about independent variable.
At some point, yes, but he basically took everything, and all he had to do was just mention the core of it.
Okay, he's got 2 out of 3. What's the third?
Come on, Gummy.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean,
independent variable.
Don't help him.
Variable.
Don't help him.
What's the third?
no, I'm sorry. I don't know exactly which one you mean.
Sorry, a moment ago you didn't know, and now you've declared it's the independent and dependent variable. You've got 2 out of 3. What's your problem?
My problem, I would say, is language barrier, but yeah, I know you want to accept that.
Okay. Well, let's not worry about the third. We'll see if you can Google search it between now and then. So, what is a dependent variable?
It is essentially an effect of the experiment, of changing the independent variables.
An effect. And what is an independent variable?
That would be something that you think is affecting the dependent variable that you will then vary one at a time.
One at a time?
Yes, otherwise you can't know which one is actually affecting.
Oh.
So what else would you call an independent variable?
Wait, sorry, can you repeat that?
What would you call it? It's your presumed what?
Cause?
Cause. The presumed cause.
Yep.
So, gravity is a presumed cause of an effect. Would you agree?
That would be one way to put it, yeah.
Right. So you're invoking a cause when you use the word gravity. That's reasonable to assert, isn't it?
Yes.
Now can you tell me how it's possible to vary and manipulate gravity?
By varying stuff like mass.
That's not... Sorry, that would be varying mass, wouldn't it? Sorry, I'll say it again. Maybe you can show it me before you tell me that you're going to vary something else, but I'd like to see gravity and how it's possible to be varied and manipulated. Not mass, not height, not distance, not time. Gravity. Do you understand what I'm asking to see and see it varied?
I cannot vary the law of gravity itself. However,
Sorry,
I
law?
can vary the
Sorry,
effect
law?
that
What's
gravity
this
has.
word? Sorry, law of gravity? What law of gravity?
Yeah.
The law of gravity would be what's like the relationship between the
Sorry,
independent
laws
variables. And
don't
dependent
go through the scientific method. Did you not know that? Natural laws don't go through the scientific method. That's the first problem. Secondly, gravitation's not a law.
All right. Well, in the Cavendish experiment, you're not modified. You don't have gravity as the independent variable now.
Oh, so it's not the cause in the Cavendish. Sorry, according to you, it was scientific evidence of gravity. Now you're saying gravity's not the cause in this quote-unquote experiment. Well, then this is not scientific evidence of gravity, my friend.
Right, can we move on to
no.
housekeeping? He's not going to concede, is he? But what I want to say quickly,
hold on, Spurs.
Please.
Spurs,
The model,
what's your problem?
The model, Nathan.
Sorry,
why
are you bailing this guy out? Why are you bailing this guy out? What's going on? What's going on?
Because he's brand new to this, and
sorry,
you know he's
Let me
struggling.
get this straight. If I'm brand spanking
Lauren,
new,
right?
sorry,
Lauren,
hold on. If I'm brand spanking new to a debate on nuclear fission, should it be accepted when I spout utter bollocks I don't understand? Is that acceptable?
No, he's confused. He's confused.
I don't care. Sorry, confused? He's a liar. He said he understood what an experiment was. He hasn't given us the three.
He didn't lie.
Why am I being rumpus by Spurs now? Right, this guy is a fraud and a charlatan. He's also a liar. When asked what a scientific experiment was, he did not know. He's gone and got 2 of the constituent parts, not 3. Then he's declared that the 2 parts, cause and effect, he hasn't got for Cavendish. So, he's a charlatan, he's a fraud, he's a liar. And you want to defend him? What's the
what has happened is he's repeating, Nathan, what he's been told. Right, so when you ask him something, he's like, "Well, hold on. They didn't tell me that. I can only tell you what I've been told." So now he's realized. This is why there's long silences, right? He's realizing. Oh, hold on a minute. Maybe Nathan
Why are you
is
speaking for him? Why are you telling me what this man realizes?
Because it's difficult, right, to accept that you've been lied to, that you're wrong.
What's happening
that
here, for the audience's benefit? Spurs feels this man's pain. Yeah, you feel his pain. You're doing what other people that are flat earthers used to do on this panel, Spurs, which is when a baller is absolutely being obliterated about their religious faith in this garbage, someone else feels the tension so much that they feel compelled to act upon it and be the little white knight that comes to their rescue. That's what you're doing right now. Yeah, there's tension. It's palpable, isn't it, Spurs?
Yeah, but what can he do about it, right? He
nothing. Just express.
Stop being such a ball-apologist.
Yeah, and if you ask a question, don't keep going and answering it. So what can he do about it? Nothing. All he can do is express his fundamentalist religious belief in this pseudoscience he's been told. Now, do I have sympathy that he doesn't know anything he's talking about? No, not really. He hasn't got an experiment. He's just told us there's no cause. So he doesn't know what science is. He hasn't got an experiment. He said he knows exactly what science is, and he doesn't. So what do you want? What do you want me to do?
He thought he knew something, yes?
He
and
didn't.
now he's realizing.
He didn't.
I mean, again, this is the time and place.
Summarising what's happened, I don't get it, Spurs. Why aren't we talking to Gummy about his fundamentalist belief in this garbage? Why am I talking to you about how terrible it is?
He needs time to think.
Spurs, why is it that I'm having to talk to you about how terrible it is that this guy's get taken to pieces? Why is that I'm having this conversation with you instead of with him about whether or not he's reconciled his fundamentalist belief or not? Or if he still thinks he's got science.
Right now.
You guys are both projecting. Why don't we ask him what he thinks about it?
Oh, that'd be nice. So, have you realised that you don't have science for gravity, or do you still believe that, Gummy?
I do still believe that.
Oh, you see, Spurs, what a disappointment. That was a waste of an interjection then. So, why would you believe that you have science for gravity when we've made it perfectly clear and you've just conceded you don't establish the cause in your claimed non-scientific, non-experiment experiment? Why would you still believe that? Is it because you've got a fundamentalist religious belief in it?
No.
So why would you believe it then, when it's simply a belief?
So here's why I believe in it. Because as I said before, doing the Cavendish experiment, you don't have gravity as an independent variable, but what you have is the different masses and the radius and the distance between them, and that is essentially what gravity is.
Oh, right, that's a nice declaration. So, excuse me, why are we getting this Fundy's declarations of his religious belief? I don't need your Fundy religious belief about what you think happens in a pseudoscience experiment. It's not scientific evidence of gravity. I don't care what you say it is. Who cares? This isn't science. This isn't scientific evidence of your Fundy belief. A re-declaration of your Fundy belief isn't going to cut it. We heard that in the first opening statement you made. Yeah, you've got a Fundy belief in gravity. We know. You think that's proof, stating it again?
No, because the Cavendish experiment shows a relationship between increasing the masses and getting an increase in the force, which is what gravity is.
Yeah, you just declared it again. How many times do we have to listen to this Fundy declaring his belief? No, my friend, it's not an experiment. It does not establish the cause of an effect. There is no effect to be observed. Mass doesn't attract mass. It never happens. We never observe it. Yeah? So there is no experiment. You've just got the presupposition of a gravitational force. And you're saying, well, we don't do anything with this gravitational force, we presume. We just do something else in a man-made device and then just say that there's a force there. You think that's going to be sufficient? You think that's science?
It is if you actually look into it.
So what's the dependent variable?
The dependent variable would be, depending on what you measure, but it would be some sort to measure the force that that is creating the attraction.
You said it was the torsion bar twisting as the balls moved. Is that not the phenomena anymore?
That's also a way to test it.
Also? So we've got multiple phenomena now, have we? Or do we just not have a phenomena as asserted at the beginning? It doesn't have a natural phenomena. Take me to your torsion bar twist.
Can I explain?
Do you understand how many times we've gone through this with fundies like yourself? Countless times. I'll state it as fact. Now, listen up. You don't have to like this, Fundy. There is no observed phenomena in the Cavendish experiment. There is no independent gravity. There is nothing you can vary and manipulate to establish cause. It's not science. These are facts. Now, you don't have to like it. The mere fact that the entire garbage narrative is totally superseded by a new garbage narrative about the bending of space-time and it not being a force at all is neither here nor there, because you have a Fundy belief in a non-phenomena-based, man-made, non-experiment with no cause that's gravity. And you want to tell me it is science if I look into it a bit more? Do you think this is my first day on the boat?
So you're claiming that there's nothing you can vary, but yet you can vary the mass of the object and
not gravity then. So
force.
Not gravity then. Yeah? Not gravity. So we're not. So you're saying we vary the mass to see mass attracting mass. So the hypothesis, as we finally get to, which we get to with every Fundy idiot that declares this, is if mass, then mass attracts mass. Not a hypothesis. Utter nonsense. Not only is if mass, then mass attracts mass, not got gravity in it, you're not varying and manipulating your presumed cause of that effect. You've also got the dependent variable and independent variable being mass. It's utter nonsense.
No, the dependent variable is the force, and the independent variable is the mass. And when you shift the mass, the force changes.
Oh,
nothing
the dependent
else
variable's
is
the
changing
force.
the force.
I see.
Dependent on the mass.
Where do we observe this force in nature?
Between the balls.
Oh, so it's only in the Cavendish experiment?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's in the Cavendish experiment that we observe this phenomena. So not in nature then?
All right, so now you go back, because you're losing on the actual experiment itself, you're going back to your natural
Sorry, you went through the scientific method earlier, did you not? That's where we start. That's step one. You're saying I go back to the natural phenomena. It's step one. First step, observe a phenomena. That's step one.
Yeah, because when the experiment doesn't give you the result you want, you go back and pretend that it's...
So when you say that we observe it in the balls, that's in the quasi-experiment then. So not step one. You've already gone on to step 3, and that's where you're observing phenomena. No, my friend. You observe it first, not in the experiment. That's the
So I
first
wonder-
step.
I'm sorry.
First step, observe a phenomena. Step 1, not experiment. Step 1, phenomena observation. Step 1. You get that, right? So I'm asking, at the beginning, what's the phenomena? You say a force. Well, where do we observe this force?
Yeah, so can I give another analogy?
No, where do we observe this force in nature? Apparently now the force is the effect and not the cause. He doesn't quite appreciate that he's now substituted his independent variable for his dependent variable, and the force is no longer the cause, the force is now the effect. But we'll carry on without him realising his own stupidity. Where do we observe this force? Formerly the presumed cause, but now it's the effect. So where do we observe this effect?
So I would like to use an analogy to clarify what I'm talking about.
I don't want an analogy. Show me the force.
So if you can't use an analogy to clarify what you're talking about...
No, I don't care about analogies. I'm interested in the physical and natural world, not analogies. I'm asking, where in nature do we see the force? Show it me. Don't give me an analogy. Yeah, Fundy? Listen, Fundy, I don't want an analogy. I want you to show me the force.
Okay, so if I can't use an analogy, how am I going to clarify what I'm trying to say?
How are you going to show me a force with an analogy? What, you can't? Just show me that force
what I'm going
in
to show you
nature.
with the analogy.
Show me the force, my friend. Show me the force, Luke.
It is. You can see the force when you do the experiment.
Oh, so it's not step 1 then? Experiment's not step 1. Didn't I just explain this 25 seconds ago? Experiment is not step 1. You don't first construct an experiment to observe a phenomena. You first observe a phenomena. I explained this about 60 seconds ago. I've explained it again. Now I'm saying step 1, observe a phenomena. Show me the force, Luke.
A phenomena is things falling to the
Don't
ground.
tell me what a phenomena is. Just show me the force of gravity. Show me the force, Luke.
Yeah. Things fall to the ground at
That's
a
something
constant...
falling to the ground. That's not a force. That would be something falling to the ground. Do you not understand?
So, do things move without a force?
Oh, so you're presupposing a force. Wow, that's going to go over. Everyone, he's won. He's decided to presuppose there's a force, so he's won. Well done, Fundy. Well done. So you can demonstrate your fundamentalist belief in it as a proof. That's amazing. I'm convinced. You presuppose a force and then it's there, is it?
Can you demonstrate that there's acceleration without a force?
That would be acceleration. Something being pushed. So
yeah, pushed force.
Yeah, pushed, like pushing water up to the top of a holding tank.
So how do things accelerate down without a force?
Like water being pushed to the top of a holding tank. That sort of push.
Yep.
So
with the force.
Oh, with the force of a pump. Yeah.
Yeah. And
then that's not gravity,
down?
My friend. That's a pump. So you're going to show me this force.
You just agreed that to accelerate you need a force. So how do things fall if it's not being pushed with a force?
Well, density disequilibrium.
Oh, God, Arwin. Yeah.
So you're saying that...
sorry, your example being what? A tank that's been filled by pumping water up? Well, the pump pushed it up, and then you let it down again to where it first came from. What about a tree with an apple? Yeah, well, it had to grow, didn't it? Taking energy from the soil. And then it grew. Putting quite a lot of energy into getting up there, then it fell. So there's a cause that went before it getting up high into disequilibrium.
Yes, but to get up there, it gets a force that's pushed upwards, but then when it falls, it goes accelerating downwards.
Yeah,
have you
that's where we started. So that's where we started, though, isn't
direction?
it? Yeah, that's where we started. What goes up must come down. Yeah, that's right. Once it's pushed out of equilibrium, it'll want to go back to it. But it's got to be pushed out of equilibrium first, like the tree growing or you pumping water up. This isn't you showing me the force, Luke.
It is, because have you ever pushed a ball and then it goes the other direction than the force you're pushing with?
That's me pushing it. Sorry, that's me pushing it. That's not gravity. So you show me where gravity is experienced as a force that we can experience. Given that you've already declared earlier that this is going to be an effect as opposed to a phenomena, as opposed to an independent variable, it's now a dependent variable. You've switched the two. It was a cause, now it's an effect. You realise that, right?
The force is the effect. Yes.
Yeah, previously it was the independent variable though, wasn't it? It used to be the cause earlier on in this conversation. Now it's changed to the effect. That was the point I just made the second time.
Dependent variable. Force is gravity is the cause of the force.
Oh, so it's both cause and effect.
No, I've never said that it's. What do you mean?
What do I mean? I don't know. You're formulating this nonsense, my friend. It's all right. Someone else.
Gravity is what creates the force.
So it's both cause and effect. So it's both cause and effect. Amazing.
No.
I thought
Gravity is the cause of the force.
It's the cause of the force. The force being the effect.
So what's the force called?
So it's the cause and the effect.
Gravitational force.
So it's the cause and the effect, and in the hypothesis, gravity doesn't come into any of the things being varied, but it's mass causing mass attracting mass. So it's both cause and effect, and in the scientific non-scientific experiment that you've declared, we've got if mass, then mass attracts mass. So this is the biggest pile of nonsense. It's both cause and effect. We can't actually see it. It doesn't really exist. It's actually mass. It's not actually mass. It's nonsense. The whole thing is nonsense.
The gravitational force is equal to G times the mass of one object times the mass of the other object.
Just presuppose it, mate. You don't get it. Just presupposing it and declaring it doesn't prove it. You're just presupposing it.
Cavendish proves it.
You're just presupposing it. It's your fundy belief getting the better of you. You don't realise that you're doing it. You're just inserting that there is a force again. You're not giving us any scientific proof, but you're back to just declaring that there is one. I love it.
Do you know why the Cavendish experiment shows that equation?
Equations? So you think the results of scientific experiments are maths equations? No, that's not right, mate.
Yep.
When you perform science, you establish a cause. That's what it's for. It's not for establishing an equation. That's maths. Do you know the difference between...
You can establish a relationship.
Do you know the difference between maths and science? It would seem not.
When you do the experiment, you establish a relationship between the independent variable and
it's not an experiment. Can you stop saying it? It's not an experiment.
Okay. Do you want to talk about another experiment that I have done myself?
No, you haven't answered my question.
A relationship
you haven't answered my question. I don't want to move on. My original question, when we established, as we've done so many times, that Cavendish is not an experiment, I wanted to know why you came here and declared that it was, when it absolutely is not.
Well, you just claimed that an experiment doesn't give you a formula, but it does give you a relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables. So you are completely wrong there.
That's right. So it establishes the cause of the effect. That's right. Yeah. So it doesn't give you a formula. Yeah. I was still talking. Yeah. So it doesn't give you a formula then. It gives you a cause and effect relationship. Yes, that's right. However, while you carry on talking all over me, yeah, it's all right. I'm the one smiling here, my friend. So you can get as agitated as you like, but I will get to the end of my statement here. Yeah. As much as you want to declare that Cavendish is an experiment, it absolutely isn't. It does not have an observed phenomena. You keep saying that the phenomena's in the experiment. That's not step one. That's not the first step. The first step is to observe the phenomena. Now, you've given us the phenomena of things falling, and we've explained that there's something that precedes that, quite a lot of energy input. Yeah, same with your example about pumping stuff up to the top of a hill to let it back down again. Requires something pushing it up first, like the tree, like the pump. But you want to ignore all of those things that are not directly related to the Cavendish in any way, shape or form, and just declare that there's a force. Yeah, it's not going to work, my friend. It's not an experiment.
You're the one who's claiming that things just fall down. I mean, the force upwards is irrelevant to the acceleration downwards afterwards.
Really? So you can just, if I kick a ball up in the air, you can just ignore the fact that I've kicked it in the air. Assume we just have raining footballs, generally speaking, and we'll just measure those raining footballs, ignoring that you've had to kick them up in the air first. Yeah, of course. You need to ignore that bit to declare that there's a downward force. That's what you fundies do.
When you kick it up in the air, it is going at a certain speed. But then
I kicked it in the air. I caused that. I caused that. There's no need to experiment here. I caused that. I caused that. This is not worthy of science, my friend. I kicked it. It went up. Then it came down again.
Finish asking my question before you interrupt me.
Why?
How does it decrease in speed?
Why are you
without
asking me
a force?
anything? Why are you asking me anything when it took you 20 minutes to ask what the constituent
you
parts
don't
of the
understand
scientific
what a
experiment
force
is? You don't have any place here. You've lied. You said you knew what an experiment was. What's the third constituent part of an experiment, liar?
Like I said before, I know what an experiment is, but I don't know your specific subdivisions into the three constituents.
Yeah, you're a liar. That's why I'm saying you're not worthy of asking me questions.
I've done experiments myself where
so what
I've
was
used
the third constituent
to
part?
find a relationship
So
between
what was the third? You're a liar.
Independent
You're just talking over everybody when you're a
saying
liar.
Just
a blatant liar.
You're
Blatant
literally
liar.
wrong in your statements.
Yeah, well, give us the third constituent part of an experiment then.
Like I said, just because I don't know your specific subdivisions into the three constituents
my
doesn't mean that I don't know what a scientific experiment is when I've done one myself.
Asshole, stop putting it on me. It's not my third subdivision. You just don't know it. So you are a fraud. You are a liar. You said you know what an experiment was. You've got two of the constituent parts. You don't know what the third is. So you're just a liar and a fraud. You're not worthy of asking me a damn thing. So you want to move past this experiment you've declared that's not an experiment because it doesn't have the constituent parts needed. Yeah? Doesn't have an observed phenomena, doesn't have a presumed cause of gravity, it doesn't have the third constituent part that you haven't mentioned. It doesn't have any of that shit. It's just bollocks. But you won't declare that after conceding you didn't know what an experiment was, you carried on babbling about what you think is an experiment and you think you've got the right to ask me anything. You haven't. With that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have joined us in the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream for tuning in, subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, all that good stuff. If you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be a short after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley. See you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!